One of the most frustrating and pervasive EV myths is the whole thing about range anxiety. I've seen it at EV shows where I volunteered, and I've seen it all over the place. People are just convinced they can't possibly get where they need to go. They're going to be left on the side of the road, and it's going to be terrible. How do I charge? Where do I charge? It's just not possible. So we're going to discuss that. Today, I've got a couple of fantastic guests joining me. Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy, and Brian Reeby drives electric. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So you've both taken what I would consider quite a few miles of road trippery. Would you agree that that's true?
I think
Jim,
above average.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah. How have you taken a road trip recently?
Yeah, I happened to go 1,000 miles to the shore of Alabama, and then I took the Panhandle around to the Gulf side south of Tampa, and then I took 1,500 miles up through Georgia and back home, and I did it all in 9 days, 3,200 miles.
And you both
That's a short
took a road trip. Mm-hmm. And you both took a road trip to Austin from the Midwest not that long ago.
Yeah, took Brian's car.
Mm-hmm. In what was that, December? Yeah. November?
When was that? November into December, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you guys know better than anyone, EVs will never catch on.
Sad.
Yeah, they're doomed.
Isn't it sad that they're doomed? Because I pulled up a list of chargers and there's none. I mean, you can zoom in. And the neat thing is, the more you zoom in, the more you see. I mean, let's just take Texas. Zoom in. And you keep seeing more and more. And this is just the Tesla ones. If you exit that and just go to regular ones, there's even more. And no matter how much you want to zoom in, you're going to keep finding more. That's a few chargers. That's
one or two.
Yeah.
One or two. That's insane. That's insane. For those who don't know, for those who've never driven a Tesla, tell me, when you're on a road trip, you're departing from Chicago, you're going to Florida, you put in your destination, you go into Disney World, you put in your destination, and then how do you find a charger?
It's horrible. I mean, you have to, get the maps out and you have to plan ahead. No, the answer is the car tells you. The car literally says, drive here and charge for 20 minutes, and then drive here and charge for 25 minutes, and then drive here and charge for 15 minutes. It will automatically adapt to that plan based on how things are going. If you have a really bad headwind, it knows it. It will adapt. It will pick a different charger for you. You really don't have to think about it too much.
That is all correct. And the crazy thing is, it'll show you on your map a big circle of superchargers that you can reach from where you are. And you can click on any of them and see if it's a 150 or a 250. It'll show you what amenities are nearby. It'll show you all the things you need. And like you said, when you're driving, you can pull up the little green graph icon and it'll show you, if you'd have kept it below 70, you would have saved range. Your tires are underinflated or whatever. You lost 0.1% of your range. The tailwind from the southeast helped you gain 1% on this drive. It's a fun way to gamify your range. The idea that you're just going to run out of juice is antiquated. Would you strongly disagree?
That idea is antiquated, yes.
It's so...
I would say at least with Teslas, that idea is very antiquated. I think a lot of other EVs on the market, the software isn't quite as robust, and there's a little offline calculating that needs to happen. But with Tesla's 100%, they got it locked in.
What is the name? A better route planner. A lot of people swear by that for non-Tesla EVs. I know some Tesla owners have used it in the past. I don't know if it still has the same kind of relevance, but it is an option for people who are not on that. And I know Ford's Blue Oval software lists too many chargers, really, because it'll list the one at the Mercedes dealership that's 8 kilowatts. Hey, man, if you're charging your Ford Lightning at 8 kilowatts, you better start looking for an apartment. because you might be there a minute or two. So, how many times a week do you have to go to the supercharger?
0.
0.
0. When I had a dyno burner, I would just plan on once a week to hit the old petrol pump and get it topped off. And sometimes I would forget, and I'd have an appointment on Monday morning, a kid's dentist or whatever, and all of a sudden I'm going, oh my gosh, we're running so late, and I need gas. That's anxiety to me. So where's your gas pump then?
I just have a basically like a dryer plug, a NEMA 1450 outlet in my garage. I use the mobile connector with the Tesla. I've been doing that for almost 5 years now, and it just works. The install was pretty cheap because it was just an outlet. It wasn't fancy wiring. Even though the run was a little bit long, it was just an outlet. The electrician came, did a great job. My electric co-op had I think the electrician charged me $620. The co-op had a $500 rebate. I paid $120 to have the whole thing installed.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather, for 120, wouldn't you rather have 1.5 tanks of gas?
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
Well, you put it that
What
way.
a bargain.
But it's true. And Jim, where do you charge? I assume
I charge in my garage.
Yeah.
And I have a wall connector. I share a wall connector, a single wall connector between my car and my wife's Model Y. Between local and federal rebates, I had the whole thing purchased and installed, and it cost me $200.
Wow.
And I just plug in when I need to.
Wow. So I just realized a goof that I did when I was showing you those chargers. I wasn't showing you all of them because I had filters that I had still turned on from before. So there's actually, let's take wall off. We don't need that. And let's take NEMA 1450s off. But these are, if you include this, then all of a sudden it's going to include all the RV parks, all the campgrounds that have charging, and it extends it even more. But a neat one here is these are all the free chargers that appear on this map. I know a guy from the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association whose hobby it is to not pay for juice. And he will go to the library and charge for an hour or two. He'll go to Walgreens and charge for 40 minutes or an hour. And you don't get DC fast charging, but you get level 2. And he's just like, how far can I go this year without paying for my juice? That's a lot. That's a lot of free juice. Let's look here, and there's so many that I can't see the name of the city. These are all free chargers. How many times have you gotten free gas in your life?
Only when
Maybe
somebody else
once.
is buying.
Yeah.
Right. I've been given a gas card as like a prize once. And I got, I think, $100 gas card when I purchased an entire automobile one, because they said, we can't budge any more on the price. I said, throw in a gas card. And they're like, all right. And really what they were was just terrible, terrible human beings. But you can charge for free. So range anxiety, how big of a deal would you say it is in your life? What percentage of your brain space is occupied by range anxiety?
Very, very little. I've gone to like northern Montana, northern North Dakota, and in some of those places there's one charger. So the anxiety does creep in a little bit if the plug share ratings aren't great on that one. If it's a strange network or something, you do get just a little spider sense tingling, like this is going to be a hassle if it doesn't work. But those are getting more and more to be rare occasions. And I did an event a couple months ago in Ely, Minnesota, which is pretty far north, toward like 30 to 50 miles from the Canadian border. And I was interviewing some people there, and they're all like, yeah, it's easy. We charge at home, or, there's a couple places in town. We don't have a fast charger here, but we live here, so we don't need it. When we travel, we hit those. And, I keep going to these remote places, talking to people, and they're not worried about it. So in most of the US, you don't need to worry about it.
Could you make it from Red Lake to Rosso County?
Yeah, you can do that.
So it's covered. Now, one gap I have heard of is that there is not enough charging available at parks. So I don't know if you're familiar with Jen. She's on X, and her big thing is national park access. And she said that in 2 other recent articles, I spotted some upcoming Tesla Supercharger stations that will improve access to national parks. Now I'm seeing a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and a 6th. She's of the belief that Tesla is getting as close to the parks as they can, making them accessible to folks in Teslas. Have you found any issues with parks in the past, or is this just an extra bit of help?
I would say, yeah, the Yellowstone major national parks, they do give me pause. I think it's less of a concern now. Last year we were up in Canada and the Canadian Rockies, up in the around Jasper National Park. Beautiful area. If you can get up there, I'd highly recommend it. But there were a couple of runs where we literally had to rely on a out in the middle of nowhere CCS off-brand charger to be working in order for us to get to our destination. That was a little clutch, but it worked. It worked fine. Yeah, I'm very happy to see Tesla investing here. These are a lot of great destination spots that a lot of people like to go to, and I'm probably going to go myself. But yeah, range anxiety is really not much of a thing much anymore.
Yeah, our experience up in Montana near Glacier National Park, we had hotel charging, but there wasn't any DC fast charging in, I'm blanking on the name of the town.
Fort Benton?
But no, but I think there's a supercharger actually going in there now.
Well, the map
So
is
again,
here.
it's just going to get easier and easier.
Yeah. Montana's a lovely state. When I was a travel writer, I spent probably, 24 weeks covering Montana over the course of 3-4 years. And I've been everywhere except along the High Line east of Malta. It gets pretty quiet over there. Pretty quiet east of Malta, but it's a lot of fun. And if you guys get
Kalispell might be the town I'm thinking
really,
of.
because Kalispell is right on the lake there, and it should be good now.
Yeah, there's some slow charging, but I think they might be getting a supercharger, or that could be my bad brain just doing bad brain things.
Interesting. Well, my sister lives up there, but I have not yet been invited. So
Road trip.
It's so much fun. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Jen's work, she does great work, and she's very engaged in the Tesla community and all that. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I would say on the issue of range anxiety, not a thing. It's an antiquated notion. Yes, Brian.
I would say when you've been driving a gas car, since you were 50 and 16, just making the switch to electric is, kind of a big change in routine. So it's natural to have some of those anxieties just about that transition. But, I think as we've found, once you do it, a couple months of knowing what you're doing with your vehicle, it just becomes a vehicle. You learn how charging works, that anxiety melts away.
I would agree entirely. And it is just like anything new. You don't know what it is until you try it. And having had gasoline range anxiety, I can see why people would fail to remember that for most people, you're going to be starting your day at whatever you set your charge limit. For me, I keep it generally at 80. If I'm going to go somewhere, I'll bump it up the night before. The other thing I'll say on range is that Jim mentioned earlier, you'll go this far, stop for 20, 25 minutes, whatever. You can also, if you see a stop that says you need to stop for 25 minutes, you can pick a different location that's got a faster charger. And that's one way to cut down on your travel time. But I don't even look at that. I don't look at the time. I look at the amenities. Does it have a restaurant? Does it have a bathroom? Does it have something that I need? Because then I'm doing 2 things at once instead of standing at a gas pump and then parking and then grabbing a snack and then you plug it in, you walk away, you don't even think about it. And because I'm spending 10 minutes out of the car on my feet moving, I arrive at my destination refreshed. And
Absolutely.
It's wonderful. My most recent adventure was to go down to see the Fremont factory, get a tour. And of course, I had to have my travel buddies with me. That's 2 of my boys who came with me. I brought brought a couple kids just cause they got to dog sit for Kelly. So that was nice.
Nice.
And yeah, and of course I'm sharing that because why would I not want to share that? And then of course, the quick mention that all three of us will be at the Tesla Summer Meetup in Muskegon, Michigan, or as the town has permitted us to say it is known for the day, Muskegon. It's still spelled the same, but it's Muskegon. And there's going to be a whole bunch of events. They haven't all been outlined just yet, but we've got a lot of speakers. We've got too many speakers. We're hoping to live stream it. We're hoping to get some great guests on to help fill the time between presentations. That's where you guys will hopefully come in if we can get all the moving pieces to jive together. In the comments, you guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it. Big thanks to Brian and Jim from Brian Reeby Drives Electric and Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy. Awesome channels, link in the description. You know what we're doing. And everybody else, like, subscribe, smack thumbs, do what you got to do, and stay tuned, stay juicy. And I can't wait to hear from you clever robots on your road trip.